Hello. It's Amy here with Live Healthy, Be Happy. I'm here today to talk to you guys about intrusive thoughts or unhelpful thoughts. So this is something that's not talked about a lot when it comes to mainstream conversation about mental health or postpartum depression and anxiety. And I know this is a very, very common symptom of postpartum depression and anxiety. This is very common, and I thought it was very important for me to touch base on this and talk to you guys about this. So feel free in the comments as you're watching, if you can relate to anything, if you're watching the replay, feel free to let me know if you've experienced any of this, or if you were just unsure of like why you're experiencing this, or if you've had any information from any other resources from this. And I will share as much as I have my hands on for you, with you guys today. So I just wanted to touch on that. So intrusive thoughts, or also known as unhelpful thoughts, they're repetitive, persistent thoughts and ideas or images of things like frequently harm coming to the baby. So it may not be thoughts or images of you harming the baby. It may be just things happening. So quite often after we have a baby, we're concerned about SIDS, so we're terrified, right? So that's one that I see often. Women are terrified of their baby, we're not making it through the night, and they're constantly checking. And you may have these images of what could happen, or, baby getting hurt in one way or another. So there's all kinds of images or thoughts that can happen, and that is very, very common. A very common symptom. And if this is happening, you're not alone. And so they seemingly kind of just rise out of the blue. There's no real reason for them. And you're clearly, the biggest part of this is there's a clear understanding that it would be bad or wrong to act on these thoughts. So you're not actually thinking that this is something you're going to do. This is something that is okay, right? Like, oh, well, if my baby, has SIDS, it's okay, right? It's and it's not even just that. It's more, images of you harming your baby as well. So there's so many things. There's a clip on YouTube I can share. I'll share. It's Oprah interviews a famous actor. I can't remember the name exactly, but I'll share that in the links. And it's a good little image of intrusive thoughts and and how extreme it can kind of be, but yet it's not quite postpartum psychosis. It's not that part where you need to be like immediately hospitalized. It can be treated in other ways. So I'll share that clip from Oprah. It's a really good one. Intrusive thoughts. So a clear understanding that it would be wrong or bad to act out on these thoughts. So that's very, very important to know that, women aren't actually planning on harming their child, but these are just things that come as a symptom of postpartum depression and anxiety. You know that the thoughts are irrational and are upset to be having these thoughts. So you're feeling bad about having them, feeling guilty, like, why am I having these thoughts, right? So that's very common. One of the things to note, Dr. Nicole Fairbrother, who's been doing research on this, she says that 100% of mothers report unwanted thoughts of accidental harm related to their infants. 50% report unwanted thoughts of actively harming their infants. So it's very, very common, right? Like, those are just newborn mothers, and she's doing research on OCD. I can share that link as well. It's so what she said is and thoughts of harm can be very distressing, of course, to the woman who experiences them. We're trying to understand the relationship of these thoughts to OCD and mothering behaviors. So that's Very interesting stuff. So what may help? So what helps with these types of things? Simply knowing a person is not the only one having these thoughts, right? So knowing that you are not the only one if you're experiencing this, or if you know of somebody who may be experiencing this and they're letting them know, is letting them know that they're not the only one. This is not, they're not alone in this. And to understand the potential triggers. So thinking about, if you're having these thoughts, is it a lack of sleep? Are you getting triggered by the news? Is there something on the news that's, some story that's triggering that? Is there some article that you're reading that's making you fearful? Are you digging too much into some of the worrisome things? So those are some ways that can help with that. Just being aware of those triggers and thinking about changing them, making sure you get sleep, making sure maybe you turn off the news, you're not reading all these articles, these news articles, maybe even some places, moms groups, if there's a little bit too much of that negativity happening, of those fearful things happening, that may be triggering it. So trying to be aware of what is triggering these thoughts. And one thing to be aware of is that if this does continue to be more of like an OCD behavior where it's very, very constant, treatment by like a doctor or psychiatrist may be necessary. So it's very important to check in with your doctor regarding that. And if you'd like to chat with somebody who knows a bit more about this because of the fears that are associated with, let's say, social services, etc., definitely reach out to somebody who can support you and help you talk to your doctor about that in a fashion that will make you feel comfortable. And that's part of what I do with my clients, is helping them transition into talking to their doctor if that's something you're worried about, right? Because a lot of these things do need to be treated with the help of a doctor. So it's important to feel comfortable and feel okay with talking about some of these things that can be challenging, right? Let me know if that makes sense. If you're watching the replay, let me know if you understand that. So through some of this with OCD symptoms may need to be treated with medications or cognitive behavioral therapy. Practical and emotional support. So support groups are very good. So having those postpartum support groups are very helpful. Talking with other women who are struggling with that at the same time, that's very helpful as well. And just reaching out for help and speaking with other women who understand, right? So in our postpartum support group, the holistic group for moms, Beyond the Baby Blues, that's a safe place to chat with other women that you're welcome to chat in. The other place is I've just started my postpartum support circle. And if you're interested in joining the next round of that, definitely we'll put a link in and you can get on the wait list for that. And we will definitely be talking about that on a regular basis, just on a, it's something that happens and we want to support you with that. And you'll hear other women talking about their intrusive thoughts, their unhelpful thoughts, and what they experience through that. So like I said, I think I've listed most of my notes off to you guys. And again, it's, most people feel really relieved just knowing that they're not the only ones, and that these thoughts will decrease in intensity and frequency just by knowing they're not alone. So there's so much power in that support group. There's so much power in getting help and reaching out for help. There was a couple other points that I wanted to bring up too, in general, when it comes to postpartum depression and anxiety, is that the longer it goes untreated, the more difficult it is to treat. So getting help is so, so important. So reaching out, send me a message anytime if you'd like to have a chat and discuss the options, the tools, the different strategies I used. Talk about whether, you feel you need to talk to a doctor and you need that support, that extra help with going to talk to them. etc., I'm here for that. That's what I'm here for. And I want you guys to get treated and feel better sooner rather than later, because we don't want this to be something that's really difficult to treat. And yeah, so it's very, very important to get help. They also say the stats are 1 in 8 women who recover from a major episode of depression will remain depression-free down the road, right? So that's one of the things I do when I'm working with clients, is help them develop tools that are long-lasting down the road, right? I'm constantly using my tools to this day to help with depression and anxiety. Like, it's so dark in northern Canada where I live, and seasonal affective disorder is a real thing up here. And this is one of the things I need to be taking my vitamin D. I need to be getting outside when it's light. I need to be, exercising. I need to be doing lots of things to actively take care of my mental health, right? And so these are the things that I want to help you develop, all these different tools that work for you. It's going to be different for everyone, right? So working towards those tools to help prevent those future relapses. And that's what I'm here for. And then it may impact attachment or the needs of a baby, right? So we don't want to be neglecting our children. None of us as mothers want that. The sooner we get help, the sooner it's not going to be impacting our baby. Our partner relationships, so I've got a relationship challenge, because that, as a result of a lot of this, it's impacting our relationships. It's causing family stress, right? 20 to 40% of postpartum depression prevalence rate in partners. So partners end up having postnatal depression as well, right? So the sooner we can get help, the sooner we can get our partners help as well, because generally speaking, they'll hold on until we're feeling better, and then they may struggle themselves. They may, right? It's the statistics say 20 to 50%. Onset is usually 3 to 12 months postpartum after the onset of maternal postnatal depression. So that's for partners. They increase the use of alcohol or other substances. So we don't want to start resorting to other substances that are not going to be helpful in our family, right? So if we can work on getting other help ahead of time, we can prevent that. So these are reasons for risks of not getting help. Again, I talked about risk of future episodes. And then the risk of suicide is the #1 cause of death in women, mothers, in Canada, Australia, US, etc., which is a very startling statistic. And I know when I found out about that, I was just like, whoa, it blew me away, right? So let's get help as soon as possible. Let's reach out, let's get help. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm educating, trying to break that stigma, and working with women through group support, etc. So reach out if you need help. Reach out if you feel like there's anything. If you just want to have a conversation, I know a lot of the conversations that I've had with women, they've had breakthrough moments, aha moments of like, okay, I have some tools to work on. So just reach out. Even just, a quick call can be very helpful. So we'll put the link for my calendar to reach out for a call, the links if you want to join the postpartum circle waitlist. And you guys have a wonderful day. I look forward to talking to you again. Goodbye.